She lost everything. Her career, her pride, her future. And the one place she swore she would never return to was the only place that never forgot her. But what she discovers there about the quiet mechanic who once fixed her car will shake everything she believed about love, success, and herself, because while she was busy chasing the world, someone was quietly holding on to her dreams. And when the truth finally hits, it is not loud, it is not dramatic, it is something far more powerful. Will she run again, or finally stay where her heart has always belonged? Before we dive into the incredible story, do not forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell button so you never miss our powerful, life-changing content. Thank you for listening to this heartfelt story. If it moved you, share it, comments below, and let someone know you are never alone. Came back with nothing. No title. No victories. Just a suitcase that felt heavier than my years away. The town looked smaller. Or maybe I had grown too full of noise to remember its quiet truth. Dust curled along the road. The same road where I once stalled my first car. Heart racing, hands shaking, pride louder than sense. And Caleb, he had walked out of that garage with grease on his hands and patience in his eyes. I found him there again. Same place, same stillness, like time had chosen him as its keeper. You came back, he said. No surprise, no judgment, just space for me to exist. The air smelled like metal and rain. A storm waited somewhere beyond the hills. I lost everything, I whispered. The words scraped on the way out. He nodded, as if loss had a language. He understood too well. Then he reached behind the counter and pulled out a small box. Worn edges, familiar. Inside, my old notebooks, dreams I had abandoned for louder ambitions. I kept them safe, he said softly. My chest tightened, not from failure, but from the weight of someone believing in me. When I stopped believing in myself, thunder rolled in the distance. Sharp, sudden. It startled me. That deep, echoing sound, like the moment I realized I had run so far from the only place that ever felt like home. I thought you forgot, I said. He shook his head. I remembered enough for both of us. The storm broke then, rain hitting the roof like 1,000 second chances, and I stood there, soaked in everything I had lost, and everything that had been quietly waiting for me to return. His hand finding mine, steady, certain, like love that never needed to chase, only endure. His hand stayed in mine, warm, grounded, real, as if the years between us meant nothing to him, but everything, me. Rain slid down the open doorway, cool against my skin, mixing with something softer, something dangerously close. Relief. I chased everything, I said, my voice thinner now, and still ended up empty. Caleb did not answer right away. He never rushed truth. He stepped closer, just enough for me to feel quiet strength in his presence. You were never empty, he said. Certain. You were just far from yourself. The words settled deep, deeper than any courtroom victory, deeper than applause that always faded too fast. Lightning cracked across the sky, bright, blinding. For a moment, everything stood still, and in that flash, I saw it, clear, undeniable. All the years I kept running, all the nights I felt something missing. It was never success I lacked. It was this stillness, this man, this place that held me, without asking me to be more. My chest tightened again, but this time, it opened with it. Low, king, honest. I left without looking back, I said, each word heavier than the last. I thought love could wait. Caleb's fingers tightened slightly, not to hold me back, but to remind me I was already here. I never needed you to stay, he said, quiet, steady. I just needed you to find your way back. The storm grew louder, wind pressing against the walls, like it wanted in, like it knew something inside me was shifting, breaking, reforming. I stepped closer, close enough to hear his breath, even, certain in a way I had never been. My heart pounded, not from fear, but from the sudden realization that all this time he had been building something, not in grand gestures, not in loud declarations, but in patience, in silence, in holding space, for a version of me I had not yet become. I do not know how to start again, I admitted, the truth trembling, unpolished. Caleb's gaze softened, like he had been waiting for that exact moment. You already did, he said, and then he turned slightly, guiding my attention toward the garage, toward the old workbench, where pieces of metal, half-shaped, half-forgotten, rested in quiet expectation. Some things, he added, just need time and steady hands. The meaning settled slowly, not rushed, not forced, like everything about him, and I felt it again, that unfamiliar, uncomfortable, beautiful pull toward something real, something that asked for effort, for presence, for staying. I let out a breath, long and steady, but lighter than before, and without thinking, without overanalyzing, without running, I stepped fully inside, the rain fading behind me, the storm still echoing, but no longer something to escape, instead, something to move through, with him, beside me. And as the door creaked softly, almost closing, felt it, that quiet shift again, like a beginning. I had once been too afraid. Choose. The door hovered half open, rain whispering at the edge, like the past, refusing to leave quietly. I stood there, between storm and shelter, between who I had been, and who I might finally become. Caleb moved first, not toward me, but toward the bench, hands steady, familiar with unfinished things. I watched him, the way his fingers traced metal, as if it carried memory, as if broken pieces deserved patience. You always watched like that, he said, without turning. A small smile touched my lips, fragile, almost forgotten. I never understood what you were doing, I replied. He picked up a rusted part, held it to the light. Most people look for what something is, he said. I look for what it can become. The words lingered, tough, but impossibly heavy. Thunder rolled again, closer now, vibrating through the walls, through my ribs, through the quiet places I kept locked for years. I was afraid, I admitted, the truth arriving, without warning, afraid of staying small, afraid of needing someone. My voice cracked, barely, but enough. Caleb set the metal down, low, intentional, then turned, his eyes meeting mine, without hesitation. Needing someone is not small, he said, firm, gentle. It is the bravest thing you can allow. The storm surged, wind slipping through the narrow opening, cool against my neck, raising something deeper than just skin. I stepped forward again, closer, each step quieter, but heavier with meaning. I thought strength meant leaving, I said, proving I could stand alone. Pause, long, honest. Caleb's gaze softened further. If that was even possible. Sometimes strength is staying, he answered. When everything in you wants to run. The words hit harder than any failure I carried, 'cause they were true. And I had always known it. Somewhere beneath the noise, lightning flashed again, sharp, revealing the space between us. Small now, almost gone. My breath caught, not from distance, but from the absence of it, from how close I had come, without realizing. I do not want to run anymore, I said. The confession steady. For the first time, Caleb studied me, not searching for perfection, just truth. And when he nodded, felt like something inside me finally aligned, quietly, Powerfully, he reached past me then, pushing the door a little further. Not fully closed, never forced, just enough to soften the storm's voice, without silencing it completely. We do not shut things out, he said. Low, thoughtful. We learn how to live with them. I turned slightly, watching the rain fall. No longer chasing me. No longer something I had to escape. Just part of the world I had returned to. Part of the life still unfolding. My hand found the edge of the workbench. Oh, solid, real, like everything here. Unfinished, but honest. And as I stood beside him, closer than ever, feeling the quiet rhythm of something beginning, I realized this was not about fixing the past, not about erasing mistakes, but about choosing, again and again, stay, even when it felt unfamiliar, even when it asked more of me than I had ever given. Caleb reached for another piece, placing it gently in my hand, waiting, not instructing, just trusting. And I looked down at it, uncertain, aware, ready, in a way that felt new and terrifying and right, all at once, as the storm carried on outside, and something steadier, something deeper, began taking shape within me and between us, quiet, unrushed, undeniably alive. The metal felt heavier, powerful, unfinished, like everything that truly mattered, still taking shape between us, in the quiet, where nothing needed to be rushed, and everything was finally beginning to matter more than the life I left behind. The metal warmed in my hands, as if it recognized that I had stopped fighting it and started listening. Caleb shifted slightly, not away, never away, just enough to give me space to stand on my own, while still feeling him there, steady, constant, like something I could lean on, without losing myself. Pressed the edge again, slower this time, more aware, feeling the resistance, then the quiet give, and something inside me echoed it, that same slow yielding, that same careful change. I used to think everything had to be fast, I said, my voice softer, less guarded. Win quickly, move quickly, leave before anything could hold me back. The words sounded distant now, like they belonged to someone I used to know. Caleb leaned against the bench, watching, but never judging. Fast things break easier, he said. Measured. They never learn how to hold weight. I let that settle. Unavoidable. 'Cause I had broken, in ways no one ever saw. Not loud, not obvious, but real enough to bring me back here, to this exact moment. The rain slowed further, soft rhythm now, like breath returning. After a long run, I set the metal down, just for a second, my fingers lingering, reluctant to let go, because for the first time, I felt connected to what I was doing, to where I was, to him. I thought coming back would feel like failure, I admitted. The truth unfolding, without resistance. But it feels like something else. Caleb tilted his head slightly, waiting, always letting me find the word. Like I finally stopped pretending, I finished. The silence that followed was not empty. It was full of understanding, of shared weight, of something unspoken, but deeply known. Caleb stepped closer again, closing that small distance, until it barely existed. You did not lose everything, he said, quiet, certain. You just lost what was never meant to stay. My breath caught, because that was the shock, not the fall, not the failure, but the realization that what I mourned was never truly mine, and what I left behind had been waiting. Not loudly, not desperately, just faithfully. The air shifted, warmer now, the storm no longer pressing, but resting somewhere beyond us. I picked the metal back up, my grip stronger, not from force, but from trust, and as I worked it again, more confident, more present, felt it, clearer than before. This was not an ending, not even close. This was a return to something unfinished, something patient, something that asked for time and offered meaning in return. Caleb's shoulder brushed mine, like natural, unquestioned, and I did not pull away, did not overthink, did not run. I stayed, fully, openly, feeling every second as it unfolded, and in that quiet space, with the rhythm of rain fading and something steady growing, I understood this life, this love, was not built in grand moments, but in these small choices, these pauses, these breaths, where two people decide, again, without fear, without doubt, to remain, even when everything once taught them to leave. Morning arrived softly, no thunder, no urgency, just light slipping through the windows, touching everything we had left unfinished. I stood at the workbench, the metal piece resting in my hands, no longer rough in the same way, not perfect, but shape, changed, honest. Caleb stepped in quietly, boots brushing against the floor, like he had done 1,000 times before. And somehow, this time felt different, not new, but true. You stayed, he said, a simple observation, yet it carried everything. I nodded, not needing to explain, because he already understood. I looked around, the garage, tools, the quiet life I once overlooked, and I felt it. Steady, not the loud kind that demands to be seen, but the kind that grows when something finally fits. I used to think love had to be grand, I said, turning toward him, something that proved itself over and over. Caleb smiled slightly, the kind that never tried too hard. Real love does not prove, he said. It stays. The words settled gently, like truth always does. I placed the metal piece back on the bench, not as something unfinished, but as something still becoming, just like me, just like us. Inside, the world moved on, roads stretched forward, opportunities waited, but for the first time, I felt no pull to chase, only a quiet certainty, to build, to grow, to remain, with intention, with patience, with him. I stepped closer, close enough to feel that same steady warmth, and this time, there was no hesitation, no fear hiding behind ambition, only clarity, only choice. I spent years trying to become someone, I said, certain, and all along, I just needed to return to who I was, with you. Caleb's eyes held mine, not claiming, not demanding, just present, as always, and in that presence, found something stronger than any success I had chased, something lasting, something real. The morning light grew brighter, filling the space, not rushing us, just reminding that beginnings do not always arrive loudly. Sometimes, they arrive quietly, after storms, after loss, after long journeys away. And the lessons settled within me, clear, unchanging, that life does not reward those who run the fastest, but those who learn when to stop, when to stay, when to hold on to what truly matters. And as I stood there, no longer searching, no longer lost, I understood. Love is not something you find at the end of the road. It is something that waits, patiently, until you are ready to come home and choose it fully every single day.